In this video, we will learn about routing in ReactJS. We will create three components: home.js, about.js, and contact.js. So now we have got three different components. So let's write RFCE, and inside this we will write this is home page. In about.js, this is about page, and in contact.js, this is contact page. We will create three components: home.js, about.js, and contact.js. So now we have got three different components. So let's write RFCE, and inside this we will write this is home page. In about.js, this is about page, and in contact.js, this is contact page. A library now is installed. You can also check it inside the package.json. You can see here ReactRouter DOM version 6.27.0. Let's now come to the parent component, that is the app component. Now we need to import certain predefined components from ReactRouter DOM. So the first one is a browser router. Then we have routes. We also have route and the link component from the ReactRouter DOM. We will all understand these components one by one. Before that, we also need to import our user-defined components. First of all, we will import home, import home from components/home. Then we have import about, and finally we have import contact. The first component from ReactRouter DOM is BrowserRouter. This is the main component that wraps the entire application to enable your routing. Then we have routes, which is a wrapper for multiple route components. It allows only one route to render at a time based on your first matched route in the link. So you can say that routes component wraps the individual route components. Now this route component is used to define a specific path and the component that should render when that path is matched. The last one is the link component. This is used for navigation within the application, and it acts like an HTML anchor tag but without reloading the web page. Let's get started with the implementation. First of all, we require the browser router. Inside the browser router, we need the navigation links. So we are going to specify individual div tags inside which we need all these links. These links will show up on the browser. Let's put the text home. Then next one, about, and the last one is contact. So when you see the browser, you will be able to see these 3 links, but when you click on them, nothing happens. So now we have to link these hyperlinks. Basically, these are not hyperlinks because when you are clicking on them, the web page does not reload, and that's the reason we are using a link component. Hence, you can say that this is justifying the concept of single page application. Now we have to make all these links workable. Now we will create the routes within the routes component that will further have individual route components. So remember that the route component will be unpaired. So here we require the path attribute. Let's specify the path. We want the path as home. And which element, which component would you like to show up here, and that we require is the home component. So we will render the home component here. And same way we will be going for the other components. Mention the path equals to about, and then the element that you want to show up, it's about component. And the last one is the contact component. The path, let it be contact, and element that should be rendered, or the component that should be rendered, is the contact component. Alright, so let's have a look at the browser. When you click, again nothing happens because we have not linked our links with these paths. In order to link our links with the paths, we require the to attribute. So in this to attribute, you will mention your paths, home, then we have about, and then for the contact. Let's check now. Now when you click on home component, on the home link, you get the content that is already there in the home component. Same for about, and same waits for the contact. But this is just a very simple example that does not involve any passing of data. But imagine if there is some data to be passed. Let's say when you're clicking on home, you want a message to be displayed, welcome, and the name of some user. Then in that case, you can use the query params in order to pass the data. So let's have a look how to do that. So first of all, you are required to put a question mark indicating the query string. And let's say we consider name equals to Anuj. In the same way, just come to about. Let's say about is topic is React. And same way for contact, let's say the method of contact will be email. We need to now pass all this data inside these 3 components. So let's comment this code. And now inside the function, we are going to create one variable. Let's say query params equals to new URL search params window dot location dot search. Okay, and then create the variable the one that you have taken in the parent component, name equals to query params dot get and name. Finally, you can return the JSX, the h1 tag, welcome name, the variable that we created. Here in this, we are using URL search params object, which allows you to work with the query parameters in the URL. And this part, window.location.search, is used to retrieve the query string from the current URL. And then we are creating the variable which is fetching or retrieving the value of the specific query parameter, that is name. And finally, we are using JSX in order to print this variable. Let's take a look on the browser. When we are clicking on home page, you see welcome Anuj. This is the same value for the query parameter that we are using in the parent component. So in the same way, you can also pass these values using the query parameters for about page as well as for contact page. You're able to see the query string in the URL whenever the data is being passed. Sometimes this might not be the convenient way to send data because you don't want to show it in the URL. Then in that case, you can use the state, you can pass the state along with the link component. So I'm going to delete the query string from here. You just have to pass the state inside the JSX as an object. So let's say that you want to pass topic as React. Let's come to the about component. We will comment this. In the function, you need to create a variable called location. You need to use the useLocation function. Right. And after this, you need to use the topic, use location dot state the OR operator and the empty object. And finally, you can also render it as, let's say, the topic is topic. Location.state in ReactRouter is an object that can hold the data passed through the link component's state prop. And we are using this destructuring assignment, which is used to extract the topic property from location.state. Now, if this exists, it's fine, it will be fetched. If it doesn't, then it will be an empty object. Or you can say that location.state would be undefined or null. Let's check the browser. We will reload and click on about. You're able to see the topic is React. This data is being passed, but there is no data inside the URL. So this might be a convenient way when you do not want to show up the data in the URL. And these are not the only ways using which you can pass the data. You can also use the context API. You can also use the local storage and so on. Now the next functionality we will implement is navigating back and next page. So let's see how to do that. Come to the parent component, and first of all you need to import useNavigate component, and after this you need to create another function as a component. Let's say it's navigation buttons, and you need to create a variable as navigate equals to useNavigate function, return the JSX, and create the two buttons. Now the first button as back, then you have the second button as the next button. Alright, and now we are going to use the onClick event. Use the JSX, and you need to put a callback function. Use navigate -1 for the back button, and use navigate 1 for the next button. Now then come to the actual component, and right after these links you need to render the navigation buttons component. Alright, so let's take a look on the browser. You got the back button and the next button. Let's reload the web page. So I'm going to click on home. Let's click on back. The back button is already showing us the about page. Let's click on contact, and you go back, it is showing you the about page. So means we are able to efficiently implement the navigation between the next page and the back page. This is all. Stay tuned for the upcoming videos.